All right, we are live, and I think I'm at like 5.6, 5.4, 5.6 gigs used in my 6 gigs, so and we're coming close. But this actually streaming doesn't use a lot, and I'm turned on my data saver, so hopefully we won't get throttling, and I can keep doing these less talks until the next call. Because I looked up the numbers, and it was something like 1080p, which I think this uses like 1.5 or something gigs an hour. So, yeah. Again, with your noisiness. Not a raceway. So, I was thinking, again, because I've had more kids come through my line where the little kid doesn't want to give up the item. And in most cases, the parents are like, here, can you scan this one quickly and hand it back to me? And so I scan it, they open it back, and the kid's happy again, or sometimes it's candy and they'll open up the candy and start eating it. Oh, goodness, dude, no. Why did you do that? I wonder if it was specifically to scare me. The speed at which he sped up to, he was like coming up like he was gonna, it's like he's coming too close to that car, too fast. He stopped in time though, but dude, no. Seriously, don't. It's not funny. I take driving very seriously. That's for another topic. Anyways, yeah, so I was thinking about that again, and I had it happen today too, and it doesn't really bother me so much. Sometimes the kids are really, really loud and high pitched, and that kind of hurts my ears a bit. But most of the time, I kind of like, yeah, I get it. Kind of don't want to give it here. Let me scan it, and you want to keep holding it. And I mentioned this before. There was one kid that was like, most kids just like hold on to it as tight as they can and just scream and cry. Especially when they're pretty young, because like they don't really know how to talk yet, so all they do is they scream and cry and hold on to it. And there was one case where the family, they weren't going to get the item specifically. It was like a giant lollipop. They were going to put it back, but the little 2-year-old wanted it. Instead of just holding on to it, screaming and crying, he actually tried to hide it, like put it underneath his arm and hide it behind his back. And so he was a little bit smart with that. But, all right, I need to go this way because I'm going to Rancheritos. So, what was the thing? Yeah. So as I was thinking about this, I remembered something, and it made me kind of realize partially why, kids do this. Especially when, you're just going to have it rung up and either hand back to you, or worst case scenario, it's going to be put in a bag, and then you're going to take the bags out to the car, and you'll get it in the car or when you get home, which a lot of parents do, and I think that's good. And I'll talk a little bit about, different ways of doing it at the end. But, so I was remembering something that I learned when I was watching Matthias, of all channels. Because what am I thinking of? Oh yeah, so Matthias channel, if you haven't seen him, he like opens up different, he used to do dollar store items and like see if they were good or bad. He does a lot of random products and stuff like that. But he has a little daughter named Luna. I think she's 3 at this point, I'm not sure. I haven't watched Matthias in a while. But yes, so she's like 3 or so. And what am I thinking of? So in one episode, he mentioned that they're young children like that, when like his wife Amanda goes into the other room. I don't know what that is. So when his wife Amanda goes into the other room, or for anybody when they go into the room, kids don't understand the concept of the other room. And so it's like she's gone forever. They just don't understand that this is only temporary. Just gone into the other room, literally on the other side of a wall. She'll be back in a little bit. They don't understand it. For me, though, and there are some kids that are smart enough that they do understand this. And for me, I kind of understood it. Because with my mom, if she said, I'll be right back, and she walked into the other room, I would be okay, and I wouldn't start crying and making a little fuss when I was, like just a baby, less than a year old to maybe 1 year old. If she thought, we had telepathy between each other, So if she thought, I'm going to be right back, then I would be okay. Everything would be fine. She could go into the other room and I could continue there laying on the bed and I wouldn't complain. But if she didn't say she was going to be right back, and if she didn't think she was going to be right back, she walked into the other room, I would start crying. So for me, a little bit different, but a lot of kids just don't understand that when mom goes to the other side of the room, they're gone. So I think the same thing applies to the items too. They've got, I don't know, they've got their little toy and their little bag of candy that's so yummy, and they, they're excited to eat it, and they want to, dig into it, and they want to play with their toy, and it's got fun, pretty colors, and they're just enjoying holding it. And give it to a person to scan it doesn't compute. They think, no, I don't want to give this up. It's going to be gone forever. It's going to go away if you take it. And it's not from bad experience. I'm sure there are some cases out there where it is bad experience, and the kid is like, oh, what am I thinking of? They have had stuff taken away from them like that, and so they've kind of learned that, and they don't like it that way. But I think they just think that it's going to go away forever if that person takes it. I don't want to lose this, and the only way to keep it is by holding on to it. Some kids are nice and well behaved, and they don't put up a fuss. Maybe they get the concept, or they're just a little bit more calm. Maybe they don't, and they, they're just more calm. I don't know, but that's something that I was thinking might be a factor in, the whole equation here. I think that could be an interesting factor. And now, some different ways of handling this. It depends on the situation and the scenario and a whole lot of different factors that I, as a cashier, don't know when it's happening, in the line. I just let the parents decide what's happening, or the older siblings. Spanish party. Don't know if it's a birthday or not, but they're over there having a party. Anyways, what am I thinking of? So this was years ago, way before I don't think I had any job at the time, but I was working at, I wasn't working because I didn't have a job. I was at Savers. I think I was in the checkout line, or I was near the checkout line, just looking at different items. And there was a mother with her young son who was about 2, maybe 3 years old. He could talk a little bit. And he had, I know I've seen these before, it was like a stuffed octopus toy. But on the ends of the tentacles were hard plastic shapes that could fit in to different holes on his sides. And it was like a learning toy, and I think it had some batteries that you could put in there to make it make sounds and stuff. And he wasn't willing to give it to the cashier so she could scan it. And the mom was encouraging him to give it to her. Even the cashier, she was, 20-something odd girl, being very nice, like, hey, you want to give it to me so I can scan it? I'll give it right back to you. And he just didn't want to give it up at all. And at this point, he was about 3, so I don't know what was going on in his mind, what he was thinking. Maybe it was the same concept of, I'm never going to see it again. But I think, I'm not positive, but I'm thinking around 3 is when kids start to realize that going in the other room doesn't mean mom's gone forever, and things aren't gone forever, But he didn't want to give it up, so eventually the mom's like, hey, you're not going to give it to her, then we can't scan it to buy it, so you can't get it. And she just took it away from him and had her put it back and left him crying, which in certain situations I say, yes, do that. A lot of, if kids say they want something, if kids want to hold their item or something like that, I always ask the parents, if it's the kids coming through the checkout line all by themselves, they're old enough, that's another story. But if it's young children, like, I want to hold this, I want to hold that, I always ask the parents. I want to make sure it's fine with them, because maybe the parents kind of want me to just put it in a bag. And sometimes that's a good learning experience, And I am more than happy to stick the item in the bag, and then, you'll get the bags, and you'll be able to carry them out to the car that way. That's a good learning experience. It's very important for kids to learn that they can't have what they want all the time. And, that there's going to be some time where it's not with them, especially as they get older and in the future. It's good for, life skills and Imagine if you had a person who was that way, didn't want to give the item to have it scanned, but they were like 20 or something. Yeesh. Now, that might mean they have, a lot of people like that have probably some, 1 second. Whoops, come on. At me. Yeah. Okay. Barely see that. I'm not going to shine my light on it, but I just noticed the key up there. I'm going to leave that there because it's probably like, if you go around to this busy side of the street, that's where I've hidden a house key, so you can use it to get inside the house if you're ever locked out and I'm not home. But yes, so I think most of the time it's probably good to just take the items away from the kid and let them learn, kind of force them to learn, you know. But I do also respect that sometimes you as a parent are tired and want a little bit of peace and quiet, so giving them the toy keeps things quiet, kind of keeps the peace. And maybe you don't necessarily want some peace and quiet, but you do want it to be general for everybody else, you know. You don't want to bother other people. So, you know, you need a little bit of both, I think. You need to let them hold the item sometimes, especially if they're being well behaved and you can trust them with it. You know, they're not going to, you know, maybe it's slime or something, you know, they're not going to open it up and make a mess in the car, or they're not going to open it up and lose pieces. And, you know, that brings something, I'll say something about me, like, it's better now, but in the past I've kind of come across as not having the ability to wait when I can totally wait. And, you know, like an example of this is when I got my, I think it was my Zoom H6 voice recorder a little while ago, or something like that, and we were going home, and I was like, hey, and I was going to look at it and, you know, check out all the pieces in there and stuff, and I was like, you know, you want to wait a bit and see it at home? Nope, I'm going to do it right now. But you can see it better if you're at home. No, I don't care if there's better light at home, you know, if I'm running off of the street lights going by. Because I didn't turn on the car light. You know, it kind of makes it bright. Don't want to make it hard for Mom to see out the back window if she has to. But it's like, no, I'm going to look at it right now if I want to. I'm not going to lose pieces. While they're relatively large, I could find any piece that fell down in the car if I wanted to. This is my thing. I'm going to look at it. I don't have to wait. There's no point in waiting because I can. Most of the time I choose not to, but if I had to wait, I would. I could do it easily. I've already proven that, you know, like, there's a lot of worldly, what's the word? Yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot of, like, worldly prizes, per se, that's what we'll call them. Or rewards, that's the word I'm thinking of, rewards. Hey, one watching. So a lot of worldly rewards that kind of don't really faze me. This is related to another topic that I'm kind of phasing out on this channel. So if you guys think you know what it is, it might very well be. I'll say I talked about it with Green's death. Oh, they're gone now. That happens sometimes. But yes, so for me, a lot of times I choose not to wait. But, you know, it's not a bad thing. If I had to, I could. Or, like, the final thing I'll say on this topic, you know, like, my mom thinks it's hard for me to, or she used to think that it's hard for me to do anything without listening to music. Like, I always have my headphones on while I'm washing the dishes and stuff, and what am I going to do when I'm on my mission and I have to do stuff like that without music? Well, I'll do it without music. I do it without music all the time. There are lots of times where I just don't feel like listening to music right now. I'd rather think about stuff, so I'll think about things in my head and not listen to music while I'm doing the dishes. It happens all the time. So I know for a fact that I can do it without listening to music, but I don't have to do it without listening to music, so I'm not going to. Honestly, listening to music usually makes the time go a little bit faster. I'm usually work a little bit faster while I'm listening to music. It's just fun. I like it. Makes things go faster. I get the dishes done a little bit sooner. So, basically, if you know and you could prove that you could do certain things without listening to music and without having stimulus that you won't have on a mission or in certain other life scenarios, then, why not do it? And some people say, well, practice. For me, no, I don't need practice, okay? If you ask me to, I will be very happy to go wash the dishes or do pretty much any household chore without listening to music. Easy to prove it. That's easy. But I choose to because I like it. It makes time go faster and everything. So I'm going to cut there, and I might be back in a little bit. I'm almost at Rancheritos. As you can see, it is just right over there. Yeah, right there. So I might be back in a minute or two with an announcement video. We'll see. See you guys in what.